Hey TCC, what an incredible set of circumstances we are in right now. Just know that as pastors, we are praying for each and every one of you. I hope that you guys are all staying healthy and safe, and that you're navigating what this new normal looks like for us for some undefined amount of time. Let me just say a couple things as we try to figure out what this new normal looks like for us. Hebrews 10:23. Says, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." The writer of Hebrews is writing in a time that was very similar to ours, that the churches were closed and they weren't allowed to gather together because, well, they were being persecuted, but the situation is similar for us. And he says, first and foremost, know that he who promised us is faithful. God is faithful. He's sovereign. He knows what's going on. So as the turmoil and the panic and the concerns, permeate our culture, we can rest on a solid foundation of knowing that God is in control of this. And here's the thing. He has used these circumstances to strengthen his church historically. And so I am excited to see what God is going to do in the macro level church as well as the Crossing Church, to show us what the body of Christ looks like, what we can do, what discipleship really looks like. Because honestly, there's no better way to communicate that church is not a building than to just get rid of all the buildings. And nobody would fathom that God would allow something like that to happen. But maybe, just maybe, this is what he's trying to show us, is that the church is people, and that people can have conversations and discipleships without a building, without gathering together in one space on Sunday mornings. Maybe it's more than that, and I think it is. And so I'm excited to see what God's going to do in that. And then in Hebrews 10:24, he says, "Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works." I think this is where the writer of Hebrews is saying, yeah, all this turmoil is going on, but how can we show the love of Christ? How can we do good works that glorify God? There are a bunch of needs that are going on in our church and in our community. We have parents that have lost jobs and don't know when they're going to start getting a job back. So how can we pool our resources for the people who we're going out to dinner a bunch and driving long distance to work? There's extra money now. Jennifer's created a push pay account that we can now push money into that, and now maybe we can redistribute that to people who are financially struggling. We have people who are first responders who need to stay an extra bit of isolated so they can continue to do their job. Maybe we can deliver groceries to them and help them out. We have parents who don't have an answer for their kids whose daycare and schools have shut down and they're going to work and their kids are at home. Nicole's already offered to babysit, but maybe we can do more. Maybe there's more babysitting that can happen. And again, we don't want to put this in one big vat of groupings, but maybe there's a lot of things that we can do that look like that. We've got people who are isolated, who struggle with depression normally and loneliness, and now this is just going to make it really bad. So how do we engage with them? How do we help them out? We have kids who aren't going to school, and they sorry, that's bad timing. Kids who aren't going to school and kids who aren't playing sports. So how do we help them out? How do we help parents teach their kids academically? Maybe we can tutor. Maybe you're good at a subject and you can teach. Maybe we're going to give some resources for Bible studies for your families. There's a lot of things that we can do, and so I'm asking you guys to start thinking of them, or keep thinking of them and provide them to me. I've already talked to a lot of you and you've given great ideas on some of those things. If you need to work from home and home isn't a good place, you can go to the headquarters. There's lots of things that we can do. They're going to take some organization and they're going to take some coordination. And so if you have extra time, and let me know, and we'll push some of these things off to you and let you run with it. And let's just inundate our community and our church with opportunities to show the love of Christ. And then Hebrews 10:25, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. We have to keep meeting. We can't do it in person. So how are we going to do it? The writer of Hebrews says, but encourage one another. See, the goal of meeting together is to encourage each other. And so technology is going to give us the opportunity to encourage each other from a distance. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. We're trying to figure that out. It might be Facebook Live, it might be Zoom. You know, but here's the thing: I don't want to ostracize anybody. We need to make sure that everybody can get onto it. I want it to be a sense of community. It's going to be an event. It's going to be a time thing. Like, church is not just listening to K-Love and watching a sermon online. Like, there's community that needs to happen, and so we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. And so, let me just ask you to continue to pray for that as we try to figure that out. I'm concerned that the bandwidth may not be there on a Sunday morning. I'm concerned that we may need a secondary option, and I'm concerned that certain people aren't going to be able to make it on there just because of the technological needs. And so if you are in one of those categories, man, let us know, and we will send somebody to your house to help you get online and jump on one of these things. There's going to be trial things so that we can make sure that it's all good. If you're in a community group, and do not give up meeting together. Figure out a way to continue to disciple each other. Right now, media has a bunch of resources. You can still use that. And maybe you use Zoom, maybe you use FaceTime or whatever, but let's not give up meeting together. And lastly, I just ask that you would just continue to pray for wisdom as we navigate these waters and figure out the best way to move forward. We love you. Stay safe and stay healthy.